Who dat to the Who Dat Nation? Welcome to the Who Dat Say podcast here on the KB Radio Network. I am your fellow Who Dat and host Kevin Reed. And man, color me shocked. The New Orleans Saints come out victorious in the Week 14 division matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Shocked. Shocked is the only word I can think of at this present time that is PG enough to describe how I felt after the end of this game. The Saints win and defeat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa in the middle of a monsoon by a score of 24-20. The Saints are now 3-10 on the season. The loss drops the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to 7-6. I am so blown away by the performance by the Saints today. You may ask yourself, where was this the entire season? Why it took 14 weeks to get a game like this from the Saints? Well, to be honest with you, the Saints should have beat Tampa Bay the first time we played a couple of weeks ago. But circumstances. I don't know. I really can't put my finger on the pulse of why we lost that game. Because we got an even more depleted team that go around as far as Tampa is concerned, because they had no wide receivers. Baker Mayfield was still hurt just like he was today. It all around. It was no reason we should have lost that game in the manner that we lost that game. But whatever. The past is the past. Right now, as far as game 2 in this matchup, this division matchup, Saints somewhat dominated the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Highly impressed. First and foremost, right off the bat, we came out opening drive for only the second time this season. We actually scored on the opening drive of the game, and probably the best drive all season from this team. We had great field position to start, which helped, but it was a great drive. It was a balanced offense throughout. Punched it in. You know, Devin Neal gets his first touchdown of his NFL career. Kudos to him. But he wasn't the only rookie to run for a touchdown today. He was kind of outdone by our rookie quarterback who scored 2 rushing touchdowns today. That second one was, my jaw hit the floor. At that moment, I was sold on Tyler Shough being the guy. I was sold. I was hoping for the last 5 weeks that he was. Now I got confirmation. I'm confident that he's the guy. This is all I've been looking for. I was looking for him to put the team on his back to go out there and win a game. And you couldn't get in a more hostile environment than what he got today. You know, on the road, division matchup, playoff team, middle of a rainstorm. The conditions were just horrible to play football. And you went out there and won it. I'm super impressed by his performance today. Kellen Moore, probably the best game he's called as the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. Just all around. The defense making the stops when they needed to, getting turnovers when they needed to, you know, getting them off the field on 4th down, forcing them to kick field goals. It was just all around. Now the special teams kind of struggled today, but you know, everybody else had their back. I got to take the good with the bad. You know, we can't get all 3 phases to work together at the same time. So we just got to work with it when we can. But man, this was a good game. You wouldn't have paid me to say the Saints were going to go into Tampa and win this game. Not only win it, but win it in the manner that they did. Tyler Shough, as I mentioned before, he ran for a 34-yard touchdown on the first possession in the second half. Then he went on ahead and added a 13-yard scramble where he came out of a sack. I think he broke like 2 or 3 tackles in the backfield to scurry out and rush for that touchdown in the fourth quarter that kind of sealed it from that point on. We didn't look back from that point. He rushed for five carries for 58 yards today and 2 touchdowns. Uh, I mean, talk about putting it on your back. It's something. It's something that Taysom Hill is known for. Taysom Hill is the Tampa Bay killer. Throughout the game, I was sitting there questioning why Taysom Hill isn't in today's game plan, because he has great success against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But Tyler Shough took that role today and carried it well. Now, did he look like Taysom Hill? No, he wasn't mauling over people or anything like that, which I'm glad he wasn't, but he really put the team on his shoulders, bro. Great job by him. Devin Neal, great job by him as well, running the ball. I mean, if I'm going to nitpick, yeah, there were some issues, and you can expect that with Kellen Moore. I still hold firm to my feelings that Kellen Moore isn't a good coach right now. Sure, things can change in the future, but as it stands right now, he's not a good coach, and he showed it at moments in this game. He showed where he does some bonehead play calling at the wrong time. It's like, what is your wave? What wavelength are you on? What is your thinking at this moment? He just do stupid stuff that kind of blows my mind. For example, it was storming in Tampa Bay. I mean, it was pouring buckets, and you have your quarterback in shotgun. You know what could go wrong? You know how many things can go wrong with your quarterback in shotgun and a field that looked like a mosh pit and the ball's wet? You got your quarterback line 5 yards, 6, 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and anything can happen. The snap can go between his legs, over his head. He can mishandle the snap, but whatever the case may be, anything can happen. Thank God it didn't, but it just didn't make sense to me. I did not agree with that way of formation from the Saints offense. Now, did it work? Sure. They won the game. They were running the ball out of that formation, and it worked. But I don't know, man. That's you playing Russian roulette at that point. It was very, very scary sitting there watching them in shotgun on 3rd and 1. You know what I'm saying? It just didn't make sense to me. The defense, who played probably one of their better games of the season, there were moments in this game where I sat there and questioned, what are you thinking in this moment? Or are you truly the defense that has turned the corner that we've seen in the last couple of weeks? That scoring drive, I think at the beginning of the second half, when Tampa just ran the ball straight down their throats. It was the same run play. They ran the exact same play back to back to back to back about 6 straight times and just ran it in for the touchdown. Now, up to that point, they were doing a good job stopping the run. But what happened? What happened? Early on in the game, when Saints defense looked good, 3rd down, looked like we were about to get them off the field. We get a false start or lined up in a neutral zone by Chase Young. Okay, automatic gives them a 1st down. And from that moment on, the defense forgot how to play defense. They went down the field and scored. It's just little faux pas like that. It's like when they make a mistake, which they constantly make mistakes. I think they had about 10 to 12 penalties today. We're going to go over the stats in a minute. But all of the penalties, man, once you commit a penalty or whatever, it's like they can't recover from that. Once you make a mistake, they can't recover. That's why that first drive was so flawless, because they didn't make a mistake. Everything was on point. Everybody was on point. And, in a perfect world, that's what you want your offense to be. But it doesn't always work that way. Saints get a false start or a legal formation or a legal man downfield or whatever the case may be, and all of a sudden they can't call a play. The next play is, oh my God, what do we do now? Come on, man. Run the same play. You're just 5 yards off of what you were before. It's all right The world isn't ending, but it's just panic mode that they go in when they make a mistake. But the best way to eliminate that, stop making the mistakes. This team lack of discipline is alerting. It is very alarming. It is very worrisome because that these are the type of penalties that lose you games, and it has lost us games in the past. So why haven't we cleaned that up yet? Why haven't we turned the corner on these penalties? They got better for a moment there. There was a stretch of games where the Saints were cleaning it up. We got out of games only committing 4 penalties, Good job. But then we reverted back to the double-digit penalties a game, and it's bad, man. Luckily for us, Tampa couldn't capitalize on them, but playing in the NFL, you're going to run up against teams that's going to exploit those mistakes. But nonetheless, hey, man, this win ends a 2-game losing streak for us. Very impressive. Now, there are going to be some people out there that's upset that the Saints won. And I'm talking about those in the Who Dat Nation. Oh, that messes up our draft stock. Well, Tennessee won today, too. So it doesn't really mess up anything. But who cares about that? I just wanted to win. I wanted to beat Tampa. The next step is to beat Atlanta. And after that, I could care less. Yeah, I could care less, man. These are the games. This is divisions. These are division matchups. Really, records, you throw that out the window. That doesn't matter. It didn't matter that the Saints went in there 2-5, or I'm 2-5, 2-10. It didn't matter, that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were leading the division. It didn't matter. What mattered is these are divisional teams. This is a matchup. This is a rivalry. This is a game that you want to win, and they did. And once again, the impressive part about it, not only was it on the road, but it was in a very, very unlikable condition, with the rain and the field conditions, players slipping on the field. The field was being tore up more and more as the game went longer and longer. So, yeah, super impressed. Tyler Shough, he went 13 for 20, 144 yards and 1 interception. He didn't throw a touchdown today. Reason he didn't throw any touchdowns because he ran for 2. And so he didn't need to throw any touchdowns. He got the job done on the ground. For the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield, he was 14 for 30, 122 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. You look at those throwing numbers, there wasn't 300 yards between the two of them because of the conditions. You really had to run the ball today, and Baker Mayfield was neutralized. Plus, he wasn't 100% anyway. Even if they could throw the ball, they couldn't because Baker Mayfield couldn't throw the ball. He could not throw. His hand was messed up. His shoulder is already messed up. He's missing weapons. Mike Evans is out. Godwin, he just got back. He don't have all the pieces. The offensive line is hampered. They were losing offensive linemen as the game was going. They were just as messed up as the Saints were as far as injuries are concerned. But, they stayed in it. They're still Tampa. They're still a good team, well-coached team. They stayed in this game as long as they could. But Baker Mayfield really wasn't a factor today. As far as running the ball on the ground, our leading rusher was Devin Neal. He had a coming out party today. He had 19 carries for 70 yards and a touchdown. He looked good running the ball. And immediately my mind, in all due respect to Alvin Kamara, who didn't play today, he's out hurt. I really felt for the first time that we're good. We're good without Alvin Kamara. And I'm not saying this like, man, throw him to the trash or nothing like that. I still love Alvin, still want Alvin to stay on the team, finish out his career here in New Orleans. But if anything was to happen, this was the first time I felt we're good. Devin Neal, and I know it's just one game, but he looked good. I love the way he runs the ball. He's able to catch the ball out the backfield. He's fast. He's big as well. He's not scared of contact. everything's there. All the pieces are there. We just got to give him the ball. I think if he's given the ball enough, we can really see how good Devin Neal is. I saw him in college, so I know that he's a good running back. I think we're good in that position moving forward. The future looks bright. For the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Bucky Irvin, he had 15 carries for 55 yards. Saints defense did a good job on him, really keeping him in check today. Leading receiver for the New Orleans Saints was Devon Bailey with 3 catches for 40 yards. And here's the shocker. That's all in the second half. He didn't have a catch in the first half after having that monster game last week. He really wasn't a factor. But once again, the weather plays a big part into that. But he had 3 big catches today. I think all 3 of them were on third downs. They were third down conversions, if I'm not mistaken. Really big plays by him. Leading receiver for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers was Chris Godwin. He had 5 catches for 55 yards. The Saints didn't have any sacks today, so there's no sack leaders. But our leading tackler today was Demario Davis. He was all over the field today with 7. Team stats, total yardage. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers had 301 yards today. Saints had 260. Both teams had 1 turnover apiece. First downs, Tampa 19, Saints 16. Penalties today. The Saints had 10 penalties for 82 yards. That's basically a turnover within itself. 10 penalties for 82 yards, that's almost the length of the field. So that has to be cleaned up. Tampa wasn't too much better. They had 7 penalties for 49 yards. On third down, Saints were pretty decent. They were 5 for 11. You want that to be a little better. You want to be over 50% there. But Tampa was far worse. They were 3 for 13. Like I said, Saints defense was phenomenal on third down. On fourth down, Saints were 0 for 1 on fourth. Tampa Bay were 2 for 7 on fourth down. In the red zone, Saints were 2 for 3. Tampa was 1 for 2 in the red zone. Time of possession, Tampa had the ball for 32 minutes and 12 seconds to the Saints 27 minutes and 48 seconds. Going into our grades for today, in case this is your first time listening to the show, how I grade the Saints performance today, I go offense, defense, special teams, and coaching, round it up and come up with an overall grade for today's performance versus the Buccaneers. Beginning with offense, the offense gets a B+ today. They showed that they can adapt. They actually made adjustments today at halftime, which was a shock. I was shocked by that. They started running the ball more. They didn't fall in love with the passing, even though the weather kind of forced you not to fall in love with the pass. But this team can run the ball if they commit to it, if they decide to just say, forget it. I don't care if we only get 2 or 3 yards a pop. We're going to keep running the ball. But today they actually got about 4 or 5 yards a pop. Devin Neal, I think, averaged 4 yards a carry by himself. So they did a great job there. They capitalized on field position a couple of times. A couple of times they didn't, which was infuriating, missing that field goal and what. But that's specialties. But it was it was decent. It was solid, and I give it a B+ today. Defense gets an A-. I think the defense played super good today. They held this team down when they needed to, made the stops when they needed to, got the turnovers when they needed to, forced this team into a one-dimensional offense, which, like I said about the Saints offense, the weather helped that as well. But they did a good job there. A couple of faux pas on a couple of drives, but aside from that, defense looked phenomenal. Special teams gets a B-. the missed field goal, you got to kind of give it a curve there because of the weather. But you had a miss. You had a kickoff at the end of the game that, once again, I kind of blame this new rule that I don't like. It's silly. It didn't land in the zone. And so the ball is placed at the 40. You gave Tampa good field position. Luckily, the Saints defense rose to the occasion. But yeah, they get a B minus today. Coaching gets a B plus. Just as a little bonus, the Saints defense of coach, Brandon Staley gets an A, but the offense gets a B, but I gave it a B plus overall. It was a good game plan. The first drive looked like an actual scripted drive. They actually opened up with a game plan and it worked. They executed it correctly. I haven't seen it all year. That's why, you got to kind of point it out. And so it's great to see. It should be common hat, but it's not for this team. But at least we saw it today. Offensively, I still feel we left points on the board, or on the field, I should say, not putting them on the board. And I kind of feel like, damned if you do, damned if you don't type of feeling right now, because this is the team that I was expecting to see throughout this entire season. Not so much winning games, but putting up a fight, looking like there's a different energy. Like every week, if a team come in there and beat the Saints, they really earned that win. And that's the way I felt like today. If Tampa would have came out, pulled it out at the end, I wouldn't have been mad, because the Saints truly gave it their all today. They put it all out there against a superior team. Let's be honest. A far more superior team. And the Saints came out victorious. But they showed me that they should have won more games than we actually won this season. For example, the first Tampa game, that Buccaneers game. I mean, not Buccaneers, the same team. The Buffalo. That Buffalo game, they should have won that game. They should have won that Atlanta game. Games like that, you should have won. I'm not even going to talk. If we go through the whole schedule, the Arizona game, we should have won, and so on and so forth. The 49ers game, we could have won. It's a lot of games we could have won if we would have came out and played like today. But it took time. It took 14 long weeks to get there. But it looks like the Saints are turning a corner. Now, am I saying the Saints will run the table the rest of the season? No, I hope they don't, to be honest with you, because I'll be even more upset. But I think this is a team on the upside, man. I really do. Overall performance today, I give them a B plus. This was a good sign for things to come. I think that not only did this team turn the corner, I think Kellen Moore turned the corner. And this is stuff to build on. This is what you build on. Okay, this worked. And see, we haven't had that. We haven't had the opportunities to see a team work, or what works for this team. And now we see that, truly, because the first two games that we won, you can make the argument that those were flukes. That Giants game was kind of a fluke. It was a turnover fest from the Giants. Why we lost that game, and we barely won it. And so you really can't look at that game and pick apart like, okay, this is what works, because nothing really worked in that game. We just got lucky. Let's be honest. That Carolina game, I don't know what happened. I really think Carolina looked past us, and the Saints didn't really do anything to beat Carolina. Carolina just did not show up, and especially when you look at the game since that. Carolina has won every game since that loss to the Saints, and won them in dominating fashion. And so I'm not saying they laid down or looked past us, but I wouldn't put up a fight if you said they did. But this is the first game that I can look at and say, okay, we went out and won it. We can build on that. And it feels good. This is the best feeling I've had all year after a Saints game. I truly am happy for Kellen Moore. I'm happy for the Saints, and I'm especially happy for Tyler Shough. Tyler Shough proved that he's the guy today. He went out there and proved it today, bro. Great job by the New Orleans Saints. Once again, coming out victorious 24-20 versus our division rivals, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're 3-10. 3-10. And we have, 4 more games left this season? Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Let's see how it plays out. Next week, the Saints will have to prove to me, as well as the rest of the world, that first game wasn't a fluke when they host the Carolina Panthers for our second matchup against these division foes in the Dome next Sunday, December the 14th. Look, I don't know. See, I'm optimistic now. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid today. Now, today, I'm going to say the Saints probably win that game next week. But if you ask me Tuesday, Wednesday, after I'm off of my high here, I might feel different. But we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. Even if we don't come out victorious, at least put up a fight. Put up the fight that we put up the first time we played and the same type of fight that we played today. But I would like to know, how are you feeling after this Saints win versus the Buccaneers? Are you excited? Are you happy? Or are you happy to see Tyler Shough shine today in Tampa? I would like to know your thoughts. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Don't forget about YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel on YouTube and like this video as well. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you are listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the Who Dat Say podcast here on the KB Radio Network. Oh boy, I feel good. This is going to be a good week for me. I feel good. It felt bad, man. You know how much it stinks going to work Monday after Monday and have to listen to the haters every single week. Oh man. But you know what? It did die down this year because people kind of understand that this team is what it is. So they kind of feel sorry for you. And in a lot of ways, that's worse because it feels like people are feeling sorry for you. Oh man, it'll be all right. Next year, y'all be back. Like, don't do that. Don't patronize me. But tomorrow, Monday, I get to go to work and hold my head up high. Like, yeah, we have arrived. At least I hope. But hey, man, it feels good. Even if it only lasts a week, it's going to be a good week for it to last. Oh boy. Can't wait till next week when we recap the Saints versus the Panthers. Yeah, as you noticed, for followers of the show, and in case you are ones who miss it, I'm sorry. I apologize to all of you. I normally do the preview shows for the Saints game, but honestly, it just hasn't been there. It's nothing to preview when it comes to this team. It's looking good now. I might do a preview show for the Panthers game because I have a lot to talk about. So I'll pencil it in that we do a preview show. And so we might, but don't hold your breath on it. But we'll see if we do a preview for that game. But I apologize that we just abruptly stopped. I didn't even announce it or anything like that. But we'll see how it goes, man. We'll see how it goes. I've been trying to protect my mental health lately, and not be so mad. And especially when it comes to the Saints, man, it has been nothing but anger for the last 13 weeks. And so I hope that this helps me turn the corner as well. But we'll see how it goes. But either way, you all be blessed. And I'm going to be screaming to the top of my lungs, who dat?